All right, on this episode of DIY, we're going to be installing a roof vent pipe boot. We're doing the pipe boot install so they can put a vent pipe for the drain lines here. They are remodeling the inside of this house. There's a little fake chase wall here. They're going to be running the vent pipe through down to the crawl space so they can connect all their plumbing. What they want me to do is bring a boot through the roof in this general area so they can install it. Not going into why it's required. There's plenty of other YouTube videos out there about that, but the roofing sector is a little lacking. That's why I'm here for you. Hopefully you get some benefit. If you do, give it a thumbs up. First off, what we're going to do is where we're going to locate through this to go through, briefly go over the tools you might need, and get started on this. Hopefully the whole install is about a half hour or less, minus the intro and this kind of stuff. So, all right, what we're going to do in this general area is where they want it. So you're going to try to locate something. There's a chimney coming through the roof. It's very easy to locate. Go over a couple rafters, you see a vent pipe. He indicated he wanted it about 5 feet down from the ridge in this section of rafters here. So if we go from the chimney, first pipe boot, just on the west side of pipe boot is a truss. Those look to be about 24 on center, so jump 3 feet should put me in between those rafters. Eyeball the distance down. There's some tips and tricks on how to find out so you don't hit your truss, because you don't want to cut the truss. You can't put a pipe boot through there, but because this was shake at one point, it has slats and decking on top. It might be a little hard to use that trick of mine, so we have to be a little more accurate on our measurements here. Basically the center of that pipe boot, if you went over 2.5 foot, should get us clear of that. All right, let's jump outside, go through. By the way, hopefully the whole mic setup here works. I have to tape it up. GoPro, please, you got to work on your equipment for these kind of guys that want dead cats on their microphone. Anyway, let's get out here, go over the tools you might want to use, the pipe boot we're going to install, and get at it because it's going to be hot out. So if you have some shingles to reuse or replace, great. You can do it if you're careful without needing new shingles. If they don't tear apart, splitting them out, then you should be a-okay. Just make sure you use a sealer to reseal them down. Here's the pipe boot we're going to put in. It's an aluminum one. Yes, there's people that comment saying you need to use lead. Whatever, squirrels in our area will destroy the lead. They'll chew it. I'm not a fan of plastic, and I'm also not a fan of the galvanized steel. So aluminum powder coat's my pipe boot of choice. Yes, these do go bad over time, but there's a simple solution to just shove another one over after about 10 years or so if it goes bad. Do my best to keep sun off of it, the camera. Yeah, the video, the part that I just told you about sliding down, I've got a video on that, and I'll throw a card up here if you want to see it. Tool belt, if you do it often enough, or if you have one, mag hatchet or hatchet, flat bar to split them apart. I prefer a cordless sawzall to cut the hole in, and hearing protection, because you know me, you follow the channel, I got a bad ear, I got to take care of my hearing. Ice and water, not necessary, but in this video I wanted to do it because I get people commenting on that too. Again, not necessary, but if you want it. I will say if you want to use it, be ready to fork out a good $45 to $75 for a roll, unless you know a roofer in your area that might cut you off a couple feet. Let's get up there. Oh, ladder. You're gonna need a ladder. Ladder to get up on the roof. Let's do this. A couple other small little things you're gonna want. Side of your flat bar to split them apart is a knife or 2 knives. I prefer a straight one and a hook in another, so you don't need to trade off. I use a hook to cut the granule top side of a shingle, and I use a sharp straight blade to cut the back side, just a score and then they snap. If you do this, it's gonna dull your blade, so that's where you wanna use a hook. Also, disclaimer, if you're going up on your roof, anything above 6 foot, make sure you look up the proper safety rules, regulations. Be safe. Don't do this because I'm doing it. Don't, what's that saying? Monkey see, monkey do. Don't do as I do. This is strictly for your entertainment and knowledge. Because, yes, I'm about to break a few OSHA rules. You know, my brother, Pat, I think he'd probably say something like, rules are made to be broken. Yeah, but you don't want to get hurt in the process. All right. Yeah, that'd be fine. Okay, here we go. Chimney. The tar I don't like, but we're not here for that. Here's the pipe boot, just east of the chimney. I was referencing either off the side or off the center, about 3 feet. So let's mark it just to get an idea. 2.5 foot or so. My guess is right here. This is strictly a reference. How would I say, if a truss was, I believe, somewhere about right here, that means the 2 foot mark, there's going to be one here, right there. So that's kind of the area. Typically, if there's no slats under it giving extra support, you can kind of do this number, but it's not going to do it because of the slats. So if the truss was here and you step here, it's going to give a little bit and come up, and when you let off, if you stepped on the truss, you won't see it give. Due to the slats, rule that out. Okay. Once you locate where you want to do it, there are some other little things you might want to pay attention to. Maybe put a few brain cells into it rather quickly so you don't screw yourself or make more of an issue, problem. Keyways. It can possibly be a benefit if you locate that in a certain area in relation to a keyway, or drop it down or above. So I'd say we're going to be about right here, about 4 to 5 feet down. There are no keyways right here. We're going to go for these 2 shingles. If you were to just pop this loose and cut it, sliding your boot in wouldn't be too hard to do, but if there was a pipe there, or if you're putting a pipe in at the same time, I prefer to take the shingles completely out, cut the hole, put the pipe boot down, do everything you need to, and then put your shingles back, and then reseal everything. Is my camera down enough? There you go. I don't want to be aiming out here and pointing here. Different brands of shingles, different times of year, and different facing slopes. This can be either harder or easier to split apart. Just take some time and get to that seal strip. You don't want to cut your shingles. And this is a pretty aggressive one, which is gonna suck. So you don't want to tear a shingle, and you also, imagine it bonded so well, you don't want to cut the headlap or underlying side below this, slicing it, you'll cut it. You just got to be aware of those things. You want your shingle to be good. Just work it, takes a little time sometimes. Because they are hard to split, you've got to take some very good, careful consideration on splitting your first one. But if you tear this and that, no big deal. You got new ones down there to replace it with. So just be aware. If you have trouble sitting on your roof, if it's a little pitchier or more of a slope than you like sitting on it, grab a cushion, an old couch that's being thrown out from a neighbor. Take the pad or the cushion out of the couch cushion. You can use those and sit on it, and they will help you grip your roof quite a bit better. So I split this one easy, or not easy, it's split apart carefully. We're gonna take nails out. This shingle will be destroyed, this one will be destroyed, just to speed the process up and getting them out. I gotta split one more, because to get this out, the nails here I pull, the shingle's also shot down by this row here at the top of it. So we're gonna split one more apart carefully. You hear them cicadas? You know it's summer when you hear the cicadas. Here in central Indiana, they just came out the other day. Not even been out a week. I can honestly say this is a bit of a pain today getting these apart. So let's talk about a little tip possibly on that. If it's warm and they're bonded really well, sometimes it can be a benefit and they can pull apart, tear apart a little easier, the bonding adhesive. Sometimes on the other side of the scale, if they're cold enough, it will just either mat transfer and pull off, which is okay, you can reseal it, or just split apart. There's kind of a trade-off. There's a sweet spot on splitting apart when it comes to the temperature and the aggressive seal strips on some of these shingles. Some days you can just get right in here, like Tamco, wow, done. Tamco shingle, pull it up with your finger. I used to joke saying Tamco's so good to do repairs on because they split apart so easy. But the bad side is you're always repairing them because they don't stick down good enough, they blow apart. Just don't rush it. If it's going to be a pain, just take your time. Because what you could get into is you tear this one, you take this one loose, and you end up tearing it, so you got to take this one loose, and it just is not a good situation to be in. Another tip, sometimes if you're getting into here like this, and it's going to start tearing, recommend trying a different approach. You know, you can go under this double build-up part, this laminate with a sawtooth, dragon tooth, laminate, whatever you want to refer to it as, the double thick. It kind of disperses the weight and the force trying to split that seal strip loose. So you'd be a little easier on splitting it than tearing that one layer. Man, this is a little more aggressive than I've had to deal with in a while. There's the first one out. Okay, do a quick check and prep. Make sure you didn't get any nails left up under there anywhere that'll cause a problem down the road. I used a 5-nail pattern. Yeah, 5. All right, here's another little tip. Just because I am unclear exactly on where that truss is, I'm gonna start right here in this area with a 16 or an 8, whatever I got on hand. We're going to see if it drives in relatively easy or extremely hard. That slid down real well. So that tells me, one, there's no slat. I'm in between slats. But it also tells me that I am not in a truss. I think that clipped a slat, but still no truss. If it was a truss or a rafter, you'd feel it. What you don't want to do is cut a pipe or start to cut the hole for the pipe and you got a truss there. That'd be bad. It's going to cause you more work. It is a 3-inch pipe we're putting through the roof. So as long as we're relatively far enough past 3 inches or wider than 3 inches and a little bit bigger to get the pipe in easy and some room to wiggle around, you'll be okay. We're good here. pipe's going to be cut right here in this general spot. Get your height where you want it. So I've talked about this briefly in other videos, but this might be a little better opportunity to show it. You don't ever want to put your flange so it's on the roof deck, because water's going to come off the flange and go under your row of shingles, so that's a big no-no. It needs to be tucked to shed water. So roofing, or rainwater on your roofing, comes down, goes around your cut part of the shingle for the pipe boot penetration, is on the flange, and eventually makes its way back onto a shingle. There's some benefits, trade-offs on how high or how low you have that happen. We're going to refortify this with some ice and water under and over. But to point this out, say it was up here like that, water splitting around this. You've got this much room on this particular pipe boot before it comes off. So there's not a lot of room for lateral water movement before it comes off of your flange, missing a shingle, and is now under the shingle, which then could follow its way down, get into bad nail joints, cuts, tears, whatever the case may be, or other nail holes. It's not going to be good. Or if you're down here like this, yes, you're going to have some of the pipe boot exposed, but you have way more room, margin for error, water coming off and being on a shingle. Also, since it's here, you don't want to put one real close to a seam like this, a keyway. That could be bad too. Because we're here, no keyways to worry about. I'm going to go with about this right here. Shingles will cover. That's going to be exposed. So we're going to go with that. So we're going to cut that there. Another quick tip, if you're putting this in a steeper roof, you don't want to cut a perfectly 3-inch hole here, because if you do, by the time you shove your pipe in, it's not going to fit. So imagine a perfect 3-inch hole here. Well, as you rise the angle, look at the distance that's closed. So you're going to actually have to cut kind of an oblong shape. So as you raise it up, it will be able to go in there. Then a skillet or a sawzall, corded, just to cut in real quick. This is just one I've had for many years. Porter cable. By the way, any of these tools I have or anything I'm using, some of the most common popular ones like the ladder, things like that, I will link up down below in the description. Check it out, click on it if it's something you think you might need. It no additional cost to you. It does help support the channel here, so please check those out. Yeah, I got a bad blade. No wood or tooth to it. Got good blades right here though. Where am I aiming here? It's just cutting through that slat. That's why it's so hard. Plus my blade's a little bad. Alright, should give us plenty of room. Right here is a rafter. Right here is a rafter. So it's pretty good. Pretty good way of kind of finding your location. And it's a little bit bigger than a 3-inch pipe. The reason you use a 3-inch pipe is you want that part coming through the roof fairly wide. That way if it frosts up in the wintertime in a cold region, it won't restrict it to the point where it's going to collapse and not vent. As you go down into a warm heated part of the house, you'll have it reduce into 1.5, 2, something like that, whatever your code is. That's a plumber job, not mine. They'll take over from here. I'm just getting the whole pipe boot in. That should be able to fit a 3-inch pipe. I want to cut a little more right here and possibly a little bit more right here, just because if this isn't and your pipe will come up crooked, at an angle, it's not going to look good. There won't be room for them to play around with it, because it's also going to matter based on where I actually put that over that hole. So margin and a little extra room to favor your down won't matter so much because there's a 2x4 right there. This is one step that's not necessary, but not going to hurt it. A little tight. I don't need that little piece. What that'll essentially do is give you a little extra air here, where if anything does come off on the high side, it's still going to jump down onto a shingle. If you have a pipe, it wouldn't hurt to shove the pipe in here and just kind of get your height right so you know you're going to fit through this. But if I'm just looking left and right, it's right here's the hole, right here's the hole. If I haven't mentioned earlier, also, people like to comment on the gutter. This gutter is coming down. They're going to be wrapping the fascia and putting brand new gutters up, so yeah, just resting it right on there. Yeah, it's the difference between some people that like to comment without knowing everything that's going on every particular job. Okay, so here's the hole I cut through, just a quick view of the bottom. You can see the 2x4 that I referenced that was kind of maybe in the way. I don't know what it was. What that is an old, at some point somebody tried to jack up and support the roof. Because it is rafters and not an old truss built, engineered to carry the weight over the exterior walls, whatever. I don't, insulation in my nose. Sorry for that. If we had to, it's right at the edge, we can cut that out, but I think it's gonna be okay. This is a, get your pipe so it's nice and square, like whoever's doing it cares. You don't want to nail anywhere in this area, in my opinion, or around where it bends. If you're using a plastic one, be careful not to cut your actual pipe, but I see way too often guys cutting their shingle and just cut the pipe. You don't want to do that. Just as an added benefit from any blowback. Now, some guys don't nail the bottom. I do, however, like to, but I will say if you do, don't put them way out on the edge of any sort, not on the outer edge or lower edge, because you get water potentially wicking up under. So keep them up and in a little bit. What that's going to do is keep this from being lifted and possibly wind-driven rain. Get a good sealer and seal those, you'll never know it. But I don't do it until I'm done. Otherwise, you're gonna nail in them. Neil. And there we go. All right, so how do you get your shingles cut? What I try to do is get it lined up where it's gonna butt. So this is gonna butt right here. And then I'm simply going to use my hook blade now. I'm gonna mark right up this, right here, right here. And then get your height set on the build-up reveal. Just get kind of an idea of how far you're gonna need to be. Just get a cut started. We're gonna trim it a second time, make it look good. Just a little pointer, don't cut deep into your shingles below. Once you get up here, you know where you need to do a little more trimming. You're going to want to keep a little bit of a channel, a gap between your cut shingle and the pipe itself, because you want a little channel for the water to run out. There, that one's good. Clean up a little bit if we need to. Same process on this one. Yeah, you know, we could probably just do this. Again, this step with the ice and water is not necessary. But if you got it, why not? What you could also do without having ice and water is just caulk under your shingles. most manufacturers do put a line on their shingle, and that's where you really want to nail. That's going to be the common bond. Again, don't nail in this area. Keep your nails away from it. You also don't want to nail near or in a keyway. Now the two shingles I'm putting in have a brand new seal strip, so they're going to seal down. Hear a jet somewhere low right over here. There it is. KC-135, probably heading into Grissom. Grissom's just a few 10 miles, 5-10 miles north of here. All right, don't forget to nail these, but as I was saying, they have a new seal strip. They're going to stick down. However, the last one that I peeled apart, that is top seal, bottom seal, it will never seal down to the shingle I'm going to put in, so you're going to want to seal that. And then also anywhere I may have split these, you're going to reseal those as well. We'll get to that here in a minute. Make sure you're flush here. Build up flush to this side. I'm raising these couple nails right here because I don't want to put it right in this cut part. So remember that, you can move those if you need a little bit. Otherwise, you want to aim for that line. I never split this, so just double check. Doesn't hurt to take a few extra seconds to make sure you didn't miss any nails anywhere. All right, we are good. Get through. If you can't get the plumber to get through here right away, just shove a piece through, put a bag over it, tape it up, put some duct tape over the hole. Water running down will split and divert. You just don't want to go in the hole. So a couple of little wrap-up things you need to do real quick. Sealer of your choice. I recommend staying away from tar. GSL brand 4500. Love this stuff. Spot those nails. And then this one won't reseal very well. You get granules split off from the last shingle. They're not going to reseal. So just a couple dabs. Anywhere you split those. If you're going to do that, I typically do it where a nail is, so it's going to hold better. Don't draw a line across this because water coming in here can get trapped and then channel down somewhere you don't want it to, so just put dabs. All right, that is about it. All right, this wraps up the video on the how-to DIY roof pipe boot, pipe jack, pipe collar install, whatever you guys call it, wherever you're from. I don't know. If you could, comment below. Let me know where you're watching from, what you call it in your area, so I can appropriately edit the title of this video. metadata, whatever, so more people can find it, which brings me to another little thing. If you get some benefit out of it, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, ring the bell notification on the side so you don't miss the next upcoming video. I sound like I ought to be in a, give me 5, what do they call that, auctioneer, yeah. Anyway, the how-to of whatever you call it, how to locate it, how to put it in, some tips and tricks, possibly, things to be aware of, so you have a successful pipe boot install. We're gonna leave it at this point for the plumbers to take over. Yeah, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Any of the products that I've used in this video, or some of the good, my favorite ones, I'll leave a link down in the description down below. It's an Amazon affiliate link at no additional cost to you. It may or may not help support the channel here, so check them out, something you think you might need. I'm getting hot up here, it's time to wrap up, so yeah, please give it a thumbs up. YouTube wants to see the engagement, the retention, the entertainment, and share it all over social media so we can grow to help more people like you, because at the end of the day, you guys search it so you can save a little bit of money. That's what it's all about. Till next time, be safe. We'll see you on the next one.